mind of Crabtree,
Okay.
an individual really with a unique perspective and a knack for exploring some of the fringes of mainstream thought.
Yeah.
And you've given us a treasure trove of notes and blog posts and even YouTube summaries from something called A Crabtree Biz A,
Yeah.
which is their blog going back, gosh, almost a decade.
What really grabs my attention right away is this blend of very modern anxieties with a real fascination for the hidden, the unexplained.
Yeah,
Crabtree dives into politics and technology and ancient mysteries and fringe theories,
right.
but always with this inclination to question established
Yeah,
narratives.
it's like they're trying to piece together a puzzle, but all the pieces come from completely different boxes.
That's a great way to put
You
it.
know what I mean? It's a real challenge to figure out how they all fit together.
Right.
But that's what makes this so intriguing.
Exactly. And the blog itself, A Crabtree Biz A, has been active since at least 2016,
Okay.
with peaks in posting volume in 2019, 2020,
It-
and a massive spike in 2024.
Huge spike in 2024.
Even the name, with those unusual symbols and formatting, hints at Crabtree's esoteric leanings.
Right.
And I think these years with increased activity might be key to understanding what drives Crabtree's intra and how their thinking has evolved over time.
Okay, well, let's unpack this.
Sure.
Let's start with something a little more concrete before we get into the more out there, shall we say, stuff.
Okay.
Um, Crabtree seems very concerned about the plight of restaurant workers, specifically this whole issue of tip tax refunds.
Right.
They even have a name for them.
Okay.
213ers.
Two 13ers. Okay, I like that.
And it really is a great example of Crabtree's approach. They take a real world issue, the fact that the tipped minimum wage has been stuck at $2.13 for years,
Right.
and use it to highlight this larger systemic problem.
Yeah, and they break down how servers are essentially being taxed twice on their tips.
Right.
Once by the customer through sales tax, and again by the government as income tax.
Right. Yeah, it's like this disconnect between how income is earned and how the system views it.
Absolutely. A real disconnect. And it really is where we start to see Crabtree's deep skepticism towards these established systems.
Right.
They're not just complaining, they're analyzing the system, they're pointing out its flaws, and they're advocating for fairness
Yeah.
for those who are often overlooked and undervalued.
You know, it's interesting. This shows a different side of Crabtree,
Okay.
this more empathetic and grounded side compared to some of their other more unique ideas.
It highlights a fascinating tension within Crabtree's thinking.
Right.
On one hand, they're deeply engaged with these real world issues like economic inequality.
Right.
But on the other hand, they're exploring fringe theories about ancient mysteries and alternate realities.
Okay, speaking of alternate realities,
Yeah.
Crabtree's blog takes this sharp turn into a hypothetical second Trump administration.
Okay.
And this is getting January 2025.
Interesting.
It's like they're creating a political thriller, complete with familiar names in very unexpected roles.
And who do they put in this potential cabinet?
Well, they outline this cabinet with Marco Rubio as Secretary of State,
Wow. Okay.
Pete Hegseth leading defense,
Interesting.
John Ratcliffe at the CIA.
Okay.
It's a cabinet that reflects a very specific ideological stance.
It does, yeah.
And then there are the policies.
Okay.
Crabtree imagines aggressive immigration policies, classifying visa overstays as illegal immigration, and defending the end of birthright citizenship.
Two very controversial moves.
Highly controversial move.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like Crabtree's running a simulation,
right.
exploring the potential consequences of these policies in this fictional setting.
Yeah, and it's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
Yeah.
They also describe Trump personally involved in trade negotiations, threatening tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, not to mention the declaration of a national emergency at the southern border and the continuation of border wall construction.
So this alternate 2025 paints a picture of a Trump administration doubling down on its core policies,
Yeah.
even in a second term.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, is Crabtree simply exploring possibilities or are they trying to warn us about something?
Yeah, there's definitely this sense of foreboding in those posts.
Uh-huh.
Like they're saying, this is what could happen. So be aware.
Yeah.
And this fascination with potential futures extends to Crabtree's exploration of artificial intelligence,
Okay.
particularly its military
This
applications.
is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crabtree seems both fascinated and terrified by AI's potential. They describe AI systems capable of analyzing massive amounts of data, everything from mobile phone records and ship movements
Wow.
to even things like consumer activity near military sites, all to rapidly identify and target enemies.
It's like a chilling picture of this hyper efficient war machine
Right.
powered by AI that can make life or death decisions with incredible speed and accuracy.
They specifically talk about AI systems achieving 90% accuracy
Wow.
in identifying and tagging enemy targets using computer vision.
It's like they're saying the future of warfare will be decided by algorithms.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But this efficiency comes at a cost.
right.
Crabtree raises ethical concerns about accountability, the potential for indiscriminate attacks,
Right.
and even war crimes when AI is calling the shots.
And then there's the idea of autonomous drones striking targets without any human involvement at all.
It raises the question who's responsible when AI makes a mistake,
Right.
and if that even qualifies as a war crime in the traditional sense.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Crabtree's exploration of AI warfare is both fascinating and unsettling.
Right.
They're clearly intrigued by the technology, but also deeply concerned about its potential consequences.
I think they're trying to get us to think about the kind of future we're creating.
Yeah,
Are we building tools for liberation or are we building tools for destruction?
right.
Are we prepared to hand over these life or death decisions to machines?
It's a crucial question,
It is, yeah,
and one that we're going to need to grapple with sooner rather than later.
sooner rather than later.
But for now, let's take a turn into even stranger territory.
Okay.
Crabtree's blog also delves into the world of giant humanoid sightings,
Okay.
particularly those reported by U.S. servicemen in Afghanistan.
Okay, now this is where Crabtree's interest in the fringe really comes into focus. They seem particularly drawn to reports from soldiers citing their credibility
Right.
and the specific details that they provide.
And Crabtree highlights some specific locations,
Yeah.
like Urisan, Kunar, and Kuril provinces in eastern Afghanistan,
Right?
where these strange phenomena seem to be concentrated.
There's one account that really sticks out.
Okay.
A soldier describes seeing an 8-9 foot tall figure through a thermal imaging system. But what's bizarre is this figure was moving with incredible speed, even though it seemed to be taking a relaxed stride.
It defies our understanding of physics and human capabilities.
It really does.
It's like this figure wasn't bound by the same laws of motion that we are.
And then there's the Reaper drone footage
Okay.
of what appear to be giants tending fires in a remote village.
It adds this layer of normalcy to the giants, like they're not just these monstrous creatures, but beings engaged in everyday activities.
It makes it all the more unsettling.
It does, doesn't it?
Like we're catching glimpses of another world.
Yeah.
A world that exists alongside our own but remains hidden from view. And perhaps the most chilling account comes from an Australian soldier
Okay.
who observed a 12-foot tall figure through a thermal imager.
The sheer size of this being is terrifying.
Yeah,
And Crabtree doesn't just present these accounts as isolated incidents.
right.
They attempt to connect them to this larger narrative, linking them to ancient cults and unexplained phenomena.
And this is where the Thuggee come in.
Athaki.
This historical group shrouded in mystery and often associated with violence and ritualistic practices.
The Thuggee were infamous for their worship of Kali,
Right.
the Hindu goddess of destruction.
Right.
They believed that she required sacrifices, not just of animals,
Right.
but also of humans.
Yeah, and it gets pretty dark.
It does.
Crabtree even throws in details about the alleged capture of a giant with 6 fingers and double rows of teeth,
Wow.
a glowing-eyed beast, and mysterious lights in the Afghan sky.
It's like they're piecing together a puzzle, but the picture it creates is terrifying.
It really is, yeah.
And then there's the Sok,
Right.
also known as the Sopa or Siddhaka,
Right.
a secretive order steeped in even more ancient lore.
Right.
Their existence is debated by historians.
Yeah.
But some believe they practiced magic tied to these ancient cosmic horrors,
Right.
possibly influencing the Thuggee's dark rituals.
Okay, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
From restaurant workers to a hypothetical Trump administration to AI warfare and now Afghan giants and ancient cults.
It's a wild ride.
It's like we've gone down this rabbit hole and ended up in a completely different world.
It is.
But hold on tight
Okay.
because it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
Crabtree connects these seemingly disparate threads to a place that's surprisingly relevant. CERN.
Wait, CERN.
CERN.
As in the European Organization for Nuclear Research?
That's right.
The place with the Large Hadron Collider?
Yes.
What could that possibly have to do with ancient cults and giants?
That's exactly what makes Crabtree's thinking so fascinating.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this CERN connection.
Well, Crabtree points to this seemingly insignificant detail. The statue of Shiva,
Okay,
Kali's consort, in CERN's courtyard.
okay.
They see it as a symbolic link between ancient rituals and modern scientific experiments.
Are they suggesting that CERN is somehow involved in the same kind of activities as the Thuggee?
That's what it sounds like.
Trying to bridge worlds and summon forces beyond our understanding?
Yeah, it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It's a provocative ideal, isn't it?
It really is.
What if both the Thuggee with their ritual sacrifices and scientists at CERN with their particle accelerators
Right.
are, in their own ways, attempting to tap into forces beyond human comprehension?
Right.
Are they both playing with fire?
That's a pretty wild thought.
It is.
Makes you wonder if Crabtree is onto something or if they've just gone completely off the deep end.
That's the beauty of exploring Crabtree's world.
It really is.
They push us to consider possibilities that we might otherwise dismiss as absurd.
Right.
They challenge us to think critically
Mm-hmm.
and to question our assumptions about reality.
It's definitely a lot to process.
Yeah,
But before we get too lost in the world of Afghan giants and CERN conspiracies,
right.
I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of Crabtree's blog.
Okay.
Amidst all the political commentary, the technological predictions, and the fringe theories, there seems to be this deeper theme running through it all.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Throughout the blog, Crabtree explores themes from Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Gnosticism.
those are some pretty heavy-duty esoteric traditions.
They are.
What exactly is Crabtree trying to say about them?
Well, they present these traditions as paths to self-discovery and a deeper understanding of existence.
Okay.
Crabtree believes that modern society's obsession with pleasure and instant gratification
Mm-hmm.
leads to spiritual emptiness,
Right.
and advocates for practices like meditation and solitude
Okay.
to reclaim our attention and find true fulfillment.
So it's not just about uncovering ancient mysteries or predicting the future.
Right.
It's also about finding meaning and purpose
Exactly.
in a world that often feels meaningless and chaotic.
It's a search for something beyond the surface, something that connects us to something larger than ourselves.
It's a lot to unpack, but we've only just scratched the surface of Crabtree's world.
Indeed.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll attempt to synthesize all this information, connect the dots, and to draw some conclusions about Crabtree's worldview and what it might mean for all of us.
I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds like a plan? We'll be right back after a short. Just kidding. We're going to keep going.
Okay, great. Buckle up.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've encountered a lot of seemingly disconnected ideas from Crabtree: economic anxieties, political predictions, mysterious giants, and ancient cults. It's a wild ride through their blog, but I'm starting to see some common threads emerge.
You're picking up on exactly what makes exploring Crabtree's world so fascinating. Beneath the surface, there's a consistent worldview taking shape, one that challenges us to rethink our assumptions about the world.
One thing that really stands out is Crabtree's deep distrust of mainstream narratives and institutions.
Absolutely. Whether it's the critique of the tipped minimum wage system or the alternate political scenarios or the warnings about AI and warfare, Crabtree consistently pushes us to question those in power and the systems they uphold.
It's like they're saying, don't just accept what you're told, dig deeper, think for yourself. And this questioning spirit goes hand in hand with Crabtree's fascination with the esoteric and the unexplained. They seem drawn to the mysteries that lie beyond the realm of conventional knowledge.
From ancient cults and cosmic horrors to giant sightings and CERN's potential as a gateway to other realms, Crabtree seems to be suggesting that there's more to this world than meets the eye.
It's not just about the thrill of the unknown. Crabtree seems to be on a genuine search for meaning, for a deeper understanding of existence.
Which is where those esoteric traditions come in, right? Hermeticism, Kabbalah, Gnosticism. They're not just random curiosities for Crabtree.
Exactly. Crabtree presents these traditions as pathways to self-discovery and enlightenment, as tools for expanding our consciousness and connecting with something larger than ourselves.
It's interesting because in a world that's increasingly dominated by technology, instant gratification, and information overload, Crabtree's call for a more meaningful existence feels incredibly relevant.
They warn against the pleasure trap of modern life, arguing that the constant pursuit of fleeting pleasures can lead to spiritual emptiness and a sense of disconnection from what truly matters.
Instead, Crabtree advocates for practices like meditation, solitude, and deep reflection as ways to cultivate inner peace, self-awareness, and a sense of purpose.
It's about reclaiming our attention, our focus, our ability to think critically and connect with our true selves. In a way, Crabtree's exploration of these esoteric traditions is a rebellion against the superficiality of modern life.
So we have this interesting paradox. On one hand, Crabtree is deeply engaged with current events and future trends like AI and its impact on warfare. On the other hand, they're digging into ancient mysteries and esoteric wisdom.
It's as if they're searching for answers to the big questions about the nature of reality, the purpose of life, the future of humanity, by looking both forward and backward in time.
And they seem to be suggesting that the answers we seek might not be found in mainstream institutions or conventional wisdom.
Exactly. Crabtree challenges us to look beyond the surface, to question everything, and to be open to possibilities that might seem strange or even impossible at first glance.
That's what I find so compelling about their blog. It's not just a collection of facts or opinions, it's an invitation to think differently, to see the world with new eyes.
And to be fair, not everything Crabtree presents is equally convincing. Some of their claims about giants and ancient cults might seem far-fetched to some listeners.
I have to admit, I was pretty skeptical at first, but the way Crabtree weaves together historical accounts, eyewitness testimonies, and their own interpretations, it's hard not to get drawn in.
Even if we don't accept every detail, Crabtree's exploration of these fringe theories challenges us to expand our boundaries of what we consider possible.
It makes you wonder, what if there's a grain of truth to some of these stories? What if there are forces at work in the universe that we don't fully understand?
It's a humbling thought, and one that can lead to a sense of awe and wonder. And that brings us back to Crabtree's fascination with CERN. Remember how they connected the statue of Shiva to the possibility that modern science might be unknowingly tapping into ancient forces?
Right. It's like they're suggesting that science and spirituality might not be as separate as we often think they are.
Perhaps both are different ways of exploring the same mysteries, just from different perspectives. Crabtree seems to be suggesting that we need to be cautious about the potential consequences of our scientific advancements, especially as we delve deeper into the unknown.
It's a reminder that progress without wisdoms can be dangerous, and that even with all our technological advancements, there are still things we don't understand, forces we can't control.
That's what makes Crabtree's work so thought-provoking. They raise questions that don't have easy answers, questions that force us to confront our own beliefs and assumptions about the world.
And in a world that's increasingly polarized and divided, Crabtree's call for critical thinking and open-mindedness feels more important than ever.
They encourage us to engage in dialogue, to listen to different perspectives, and to be willing to change our minds when presented with new information.
So as we move towards the final part of this deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What resonates most with you from Crabtree's work? What insights have you gained from exploring their unique perspective?
For me, it's the reminder that there's always more to learn, more to discover, more to question. Crabtree's blend of skepticism, intellectual curiosity, and spiritual seeking is an inspiration to keep exploring, keep pushing the boundaries of our understanding, and keep searching for meaning in a complex and often confusing world.
I think you hit a nail on the head. Crabtree's world is a challenge, an invitation, and ultimately a reminder that the journey of self-discovery and the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong adventure.
And in the final part of this deep dive, we'll explore some of the practical implications of Crabtree's worldview. How can we integrate their insights into our own lives? How can we navigate the challenges of a rapidly changing world while staying true to our values and seeking deeper meaning?
I'm looking forward to that conversation, but first we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Just kidding. We're going to keep going. Let's dive into the final part of our exploration of Crabtree's world. So we've spent quite a bit of time now exploring this intricate and often perplexing world of Crabtree.
Yeah, sifting through their blog, A Crabtree Biz.
We've seen how they challenge conventional wisdom,
Right.
embrace esoteric knowledge, and really advocate for this more meaningful existence
Yeah,
in a world that often feels superficial and chaotic.
absolutely.
But as we reach the end of our exploration, the question remains,
Yeah,
what does it all mean for us?
right.
How can we apply Crabtree's unique perspective to our own lives?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
Crabtree's blog is like this giant puzzle box
Right.
filled with these fascinating but often perplexing pieces.
Yeah, and it's our job to try and put those pieces together.
Right.
See the bigger picture that Crabtree's trying to create.
Exactly.
And one of the most striking things about Crabtree's work is this deep skepticism that they have toward mainstream narratives and institutions.
Absolutely. They consistently urge us to question everything, to dig deeper,
Right.
to look beyond the surface of things.
Whether it's the political system, the media, even scientific dogma.
Yeah,
Crabtree reminds us that there's always more than one side to every story.
more than one side to every story, yeah.
And they encourage us to develop our critical thinking skills, to be discerning consumers of information,
Right.
and to form our own opinions based on evidence and reason.
In an age of information overload and rampant misinformation,
Right.
that message feels more important than ever.
It really does.
It's so easy to get swept up in the latest headlines,
Right.
to accept what we're told without question.
Yeah, but Crabtree reminds us that true knowledge requires effort. It requires us to be active participants in the search for truth.
Absolutely. And this skepticism extends to Crabtree's exploration of the esoteric and the unexplained as well.
Right.
They seem to be suggesting that the answers to life's big questions might not be found in conventional sources of knowledge.
Yeah, they encourage us to explore alternative perspectives,
Right.
to consider possibilities that might seem strange or even impossible at first glance.
Like what? What kind of things?
Well, whether it's the wisdom of ancient traditions,
Okay.
the accounts of unexplained phenomena, or the potential of consciousness itself,
Right.
Crabtree invites us to expand our understanding of what's real and what's possible.
It's not just about intellectual curiosity, though, is it?
No, it's not.
It's about finding meaning and purpose
Right.
in a world that often feels meaningless and chaotic.
And Crabtree's message really resonates deeply with those who feel disillusioned with the status quo,
I can see that.
who are seeking something more
Yeah.
than the material pursuits that dominate modern society.
They offer a path towards a more fulfilling life, don't they?
They do, yeah.
One that's grounded in self awareness, spiritual seeking, and a connection to something larger than ourselves.
Right. And they remind us that true happiness and fulfillment come not from external validation or material possessions, but from within.
From within, yeah.
It's about cultivating inner peace,
Right.
developing our potential, and living in alignment with our values.
Now, I know some of Crabtree's ideas might seem, well, out there,
Yeah,
especially their fascination with giants and ancient cults.
right. And it's natural to be skeptical,
Sure,
question the validity of claims that seem to defy conventional wisdom.
absolutely.
But even if we don't accept every detail,
Yeah.
I think there's value in exploring these fringe theories.
I agree. They challenge our assumptions about the world. They pull us to consider different perspectives,
Right.
and they really spark our imaginations.
Who knows? Maybe there's a grain of truth hidden within these seemingly outlandish stories.
Maybe.
Maybe there are forces at work in the universe that we're only beginning to understand.
And Crabtree's exploration of CERN
Right.
raises some particularly intriguing questions about the intersection of science and spirituality.
Yeah, they suggest that modern science, in its quest to understand the fundamental nature of reality,
Mm-hmm.
might be inadvertently tapping into ancient forces that we don't fully comprehend.
It's a reminder that our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving
It is
and that there's still so much that we don't know.
so much that we don't know, yeah.
Perhaps science and spirituality are not as separate as we often think they are.
Right.
Maybe they're two sides of the same coin.
So, what can we take away from all of this? What are the key insights that we can apply to our own lives?
I think the most important takeaway is the importance of critical thinking,
Okay?
of questioning everything, and of being open to new ideas and perspective.
Right. We need to be discerning consumers of information.
Absolutely.
We need to be willing to challenge our own beliefs, and we need to be open to the possibility that there's more to this world than meets the eye.
Crabtree's emphasis on esoteric knowledge reminds us that the search for truth and meaning is a lifelong journey,
It is.
one that requires us to be active participants.
It's about cultivating our curiosity, exploring different paths,
Right.
and integrating what we learn into our own unique worldview.
And as we navigate this journey, it's crucial to remember that we're not alone.
Right?
Crabtree's work is a reminder that there are others out there who are also seeking answers, who are also questioning the status quo, and who are also striving to live more meaningful lives.
Right. And by connecting with others,
Yes.
by sharing our insights and experiences, we can support each other on this path of self-discovery and exploration.
Absolutely.
So as we conclude this deep dive into Crabtree's world, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Imagine a world where the knowledge and insights gleaned from both science and spirituality are integrated into a more holistic understanding of reality.
Interesting.
A world where critical thinking and open-mindedness are valued above dogma and blind faith. A world where individuals are empowered to seek their own truth and to live in alignment with their values.
What would such a world look like?
That's the question.
How can we contribute to its creation?
Those are questions worth pondering as we continue our own journeys of exploration and discovery.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating and thought-provoking world of Crabtree.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the deeper truths that lie hidden within and all around us.